following contest, from Denver, Colorado, weighing in at Little Hoey, John.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one.
Of all the superstars on the roster, this guy is amongst the hardest working. That goes without saying.
Definitely shout out to Don Chaos. We know you got our back, and we got your back too, man. Denver, Colorado all day, brother. We're definitely going to hook up with you. Much love to Carnival Spirits for putting us on as well on this YouTube, man.
Shout out to you, Don Chaos, for, what is this, episode like 126 or something like that?
Yes, sir.
You've been putting in work, bro. Respect. Y'all doing some shit for the community and the fam out there. Appreciate it. So just keep doing what y'all doing, you know what I mean?
Congrats to Don Chaos for 1,000 subscribers. Whoop, whoop.
Keep it going,
Congratulations, Don Chaos. Yes, keep it going, man. Good luck to you, fucking Don Chaos. And fucking hell yeah on your 1,000 fucking followers.
You know who it is. It's Ouija Mac, bitch. Shout out to Carnival Spirits. And fucking shout out to Don Chaos one time. You know what's going on.
This is my brother. Everyone, Don Chaos and Brother Lynch Hung here.
Yeah, and Carnival Spirits, what's up, man? Don Chaos, what's up? It's your boy, Brother Lynch Hung. We out here tonight. Listen.
Fuego Flays and my nigga Don Chaos. What's going on, B? It's my brother right here, my boy. Excuse the laugh, excuse the laugh.
Yo, what up, y'all? This is Don Chaos, and I'm with a very legendary man. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Hey, Sean. Yeah, we at the gathering, y'all.
Radio show of the year. This one's always controversial. Coming in number one, we got Hours of Chaos with Don Chaos. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, there. Congratulations, man. Don Chaos, Hours of Chaos.
Yo, what is good, everyone? You guys already know who this is. This is Mr. D to the O to the N to the C to the H to the A to the O to the S, your friendly neighborhood JUGGALO, the Karma Millionaire. If you don't know, now you know. We are back live with the Hours of Chaos podcast. This is episode 121, y'all. Holy shit. I see one of our first guests of the night is already in the back room, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on here. I saw him there vibing out to that intro because of that beat. I see him vibing out to the beat we're using on the show now. So what is up, man?
What is good, Don Chaos? How you doing?
Good, you?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. It's been a productive day.
Yep, you always feel great when you have a very productive day. I know how that is.
Yeah, man. If I don't get anything done during the day, I just fucking, my whole night's ruined. I just feel like shit. I feel like a good for nothing.
That's how I am. If I don't get anything done, I just go crazy. So especially when I'm doing any kind of work, I always have to have like music going in the background because it helps me be productive, or even if it's just instrumentals like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. If I'm working on something non-music related, I'll just throw on a beat in the background or a playlist, or I got an old school TV with a VCR right here, so I'll just pop on like a old school horror movie or some shit and just let that roll in the background.
So yeah, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you on here. So what we do is you just give a brief introduction, who you are and where you're from, and then we will ask with the questions.
For sure, man. Well, I'm Ill Fortune. I am a producer and a recording artist based out of northern Minnesota. I really specialize in horrorcore hip hop, but I'm like more diverse than that. I do everything that you would consider underground hip hop music, and everything I do is for the underground scene, whether it's conscious rap, storytelling, horrorcore. It's pretty much it though.
Hell yeah, I love your setup, man. That's dope.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge horror head, man. Fucking, I could talk all day about horror movies.
Hell yeah. And that's one thing that me and my fiance love about is like we love Michael Myers. Like in this household, we love Michael Myers.
Yeah, man, those last few movies were something. I mean, that last one, oh fuck, don't even get me started on Halloween Ends, but I like the other two.
Oh yeah, Halloween Ends had some moments where I'm like, okay, but then it had some of its points where it was brutal, where I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I don't think it was the final nail in the coffin for Michael that we would have expected. I mean,
exactly. Now those first two were phenomenal.
I don't get why Halloween Kills gets so much hate, man. I fucking love that movie. It's so brutal. All the Easter eggs that are like shouting out to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It's amazing. That movie is so kick-ass.
Hell yeah. And how long have you actually been doing music?
Oh man. Well, I've been doing music pretty much my whole life, no joke. Like, I grew up on old school hip hop with my dad and stuff. He was a break dancer and a graffiti artist, so I kind of grew up around that, listening to a lot of like 80s hip hop joints, like, you know, Sugar Hill Gang, Nucleus, Herbie Hancock, stuff like that, and was a break dancer as a little kid. So I started like writing lyrics by the time that I was old enough to actually know how to write, you know, like kindergarten age, like 5-6 years old. That's when I started actually writing lyrics and shit, but I didn't get to recording until I was like 13, 14. And then, yeah, it wasn't until I was a little bit older that I actually started a business and made it a professional thing, you know, started like paying taxes on everything and running it like an actual LLC instead of just, you know, some kid making music in his room.
Hell yeah. And how did you actually come up with your like stage name, or did you go by other names beforehand?
I actually did go by other names. Growing up and when I was in high school and middle school, I went under the persona Bloodshot for a long time. And then I eventually realized there was already another artist named Bloodshot. And it ended up just becoming a nickname that the homies call me. And then it was like 2017. That was around the time that I decided to, you know, I was like, all right, I'm done playing around. I'm going to make this an actual job, you know, make it a business. That's when I registered the LLC. I rebranded from Bloodshot to Ill Fortune. The reason for the name is because my last name actually is Fortune, you know, and I feel like I keep it ill with everything I do. So not only that, but Ill Fortune has a double meaning of bad luck or misfortune. So.
Oh yeah, that's a really good like explanation for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing is, me and my cousin, he used to rap too. We made a song called Ill Fortune back when I was still Bloodshot, and that's kind of where it first came from. And I was like, okay, yeah. A couple years later, I was like, I'm just gonna snatch that song name and make that my rap name and my whole brand.
Oh yeah, and what was actually the first like song you remember in general in music that like got you into music? Like for me, it was either like Prince or Michael Jackson.
You're saying like the kind of music that inspired me to rap and shit? I mean,
well, just like what was the first song you like heard that like made you like fall in love with music in general, if you can remember what it was?
Rapper's Delight, man. I heard that joint when I was like 3 years old. Rapper's Delight. I mean, it's definitely a classic. Everybody knows it. It might even sound corny to say, but I mean, as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old kid jamming out to that in the car with my dad and my brother, it was just magic. And that's when I just fell in love with hip hop before any other genre. You know, like I'm a full-on hip hop head. Like I dabble with rock and alternative shit, a little bit of metal here and there, you know, jazz and funk. But when it comes down to it, hip hop is all I really know.
Exactly. That's how I am. I mean, I like music in general, but the two music that has always gravitated towards me is like hip hop and like rock and roll.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're close cousins. I mean, you couldn't have hip hop without rock and roll first, if you ask me. So.
Oh yeah, and it's cool when you hear about like a lot of rappers that come from metal backgrounds, which is cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Personally, me, I can't play a fucking instrument to save my life. I mean, I dabble with piano when it comes to the beats I make, but you know, I can only play a few songs. At the end of the day, I can't read sheet music. I have a decent understanding of music theory, but I can't sing or play like guitars and other instruments. So there's no hope of me ever doing metal or any rock or any kind of band work.
Yeah, unless you like hired like someone who plays the instruments for you.
Well, I have a pretty big network locally of people that do that. My best homie, John, he works with me a lot on music. He's actually taught me pretty much everything I know about music theory, and he's the one that got me into making beats. And that dude can play any instrument you hand him, I swear to God. He's like a musical prodigy. So I know a lot of the people that have been rocking with me will recognize him on certain choruses for songs, or half my last album was produced by him. I produced half the beats, he did the other half. And so he's definitely been along for the ride, definitely, for sure.
And I saw that we had the real freak in here, or he's in here right now. He said you produced some of his stuff.
Yeah, I've worked with him. I produced, I want to say, a full album for him. Yeah, he's pretty dope shit. He's a good homie. He's always looking out.
Oh yeah, he is multi-talented too. Like when he showed me that he got Chris Calico on his album, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no, he definitely be investing the money, and that's important. A lot of people don't even want to invest in a beat, let alone in features and promotion and stuff like that. And that's part of the game, you know. Some will call it pay to win, but I call it investing in yourself.
Yeah, it's not like when we were younger where you would just hear a single, or you would just hear like an album and then you have to wait a year or a full 3 years or something before an album comes out. Now you can constantly drop something now, which is cool, whether it's a single, a mixtape, an EP, a full-length album.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You know, that's the thing, that's the mindset, that people have shorter attention spans right now, so it feels like you got to drop, you know, a song every other week, damn near. For me, I'm super old school with the way that I approach my music promotion, which can be debilitating to growth in the, you know, fast track. But I'm still under the impression that I should take a whole year to work on an album, hash it out with skits, and make sure that, you know, I do everything in-house, from making the beat, recording, mixing and mastering, all my vocals, the whole song. So it definitely takes me longer than other people, for sure. But I have more creative control, so I definitely take my time. There's been times where I took a year and a half to release an album, but I definitely am trying to get more towards the releasing music on a consistent basis of every month or so, at least every month, you know, one song. So,
I mean, a lot of artists have done that, especially back in the day. Like, remember Dr. Dre? He would always like take his time, like his creativity.
Yeah, it's the anticipation thing too, and I guess it depends on where you're at with it. Because I know some people have great success with just releasing a single song every week. For me, I like to try to package my shit more like a bigger thing. Like, I like to deliver a music video, high quality visuals, perfect artwork, you know. And there's nothing wrong either way you go about it. I've seen people have great success just doing TikTok videos, and it's, you know, it's different for everybody. Everybody has their own way of going about it. I know one guy that doesn't even he doesn't record music or release it locally here, but he has songs and he goes and does a lot of shows, right? And he kills it on the mic. My first time hearing him, I was like, holy shit, this guy's fucking crazy. I want to check out his music. And I found out he didn't have any music released. And I was like, what? How can he rap on stage that strong and not have any music out there? So it's just, you never know. It's different for everybody.
Exactly. Like, everyone has their different way of approaching, and I like that there's a lot of diversity coming out, like in like music again, like especially hip hop. Like back in the day, you could like tell who was who back then, and then for a while everyone was sounding the same, but now it's starting to go back to that diversity. Everyone has their own sound and unique voice where you can be like, oh, that's them. Like where you hear when you hear Tech, you're like, that's Tech, or when you hear like Tupac, you're like, that's fucking Tupac.
I've had that conversation with so many people, man. I've preached it in my music too, how the scene back in the day seemed to be more innovative. Like you said, everybody had their own sound, and everybody was trying to be unique. And if you were biting someone else's style or flow or whatever, you got called out for it. And then we went through a period where everybody was just copying each other, and the music was just getting more and more dumbed down and watered down. And it is good to see more people trying to be innovative nowadays, and I appreciate that. It even feels like the 80s and 90s are coming back in some ways, both through fashion and through just the sounds that we're hearing, you know, and I'm excited about that because I was getting very fearful for the future of hip-hop music for a while there.
Yeah, and that's why I used to laugh back in the day when people would go, this all sounds the same. And then when I would put like Tribe Called Quest on and then you put Wu-Tang on, I'm like, this is completely different. How does this sound the same?
That's the thing, man, is that a lot of people don't have a good frame of reference, and it depends. Are you talking to someone who just listens to mainstream hip hop, or someone who's like a hip hop head that listens to the underground shit? Because their frames of reference are going to be completely different. Exactly. Like me, as like a white rapper, I get compared to Eminem like all the fucking time by people that don't have a frame of reference, right? So like instantly they throw that, and I'm not the only one that deals with it. I talk to a lot of artists on a daily, and it's everybody, you know, that's getting just compared to artists like that, because nobody knows, they can't, you know, dig deeper and be like, oh, you know, you sound really unique, because to them they just can't tell the difference, man. It's just
Rejektz actually covered on it. He actually did a song called White Rapper, which is a good song.
It is a great song. Yeah, that says it all right there. Exactly.
Rejektz is a beast. Like, if anyone's ever seen him live or just heard his music, he is just a fucking beast. That dude goes in.
Oh yeah, I got a homie that he's in love with Rejektz. He's a dope rapper though. Rejektz kills it for sure.
Oh yeah. It's funny, me and him actually share the same exact birthday, same date, just different year. It's crazy.
Damn, that's nuts, man. Yeah, I mean, I definitely put myself in a box where I kind of stop listening to other artists. I'll go through a period of like 6 months to even a year where I just don't listen to hardly anybody else, maybe like 2 or 3 artists out of the bunch. And part of that is because I don't like to be influenced by other people. If I'm working on an album, I don't always like hearing somebody else's music might subconsciously influence me to make a certain type of song that I normally wouldn't make, and I don't always like that. Sometimes it's inspiring when that happens, but other times it can mislead you down a path where you're just recreating something someone else has already done, and I try to stay away from doing that on all levels. I always try to push the envelope and do something different if I can, you know, but also stay in that underground old school realm of hip-hop.
Yeah, that's like me. I've always loved hip hop regardless of the genre. I always tell people there's different genres. You got the party stuff, then you got kind of the street stuff, then you got the gangster shit, and then when you want to go to the real dark side, that's where you get like horrorcore and shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many subgenres of hip hop. It's crazy. You know, you even got like the whole trap scene, like the whole new wave trap scene, which at this point for me, I kind of put that in its own lane. I don't even really classify that as a subgenre of hip hop. I think at this point, it's like its own genre, you know, with people like doing the whole auto-tune singing thing on trap beats. I won't even call that rap at this point.
Oh yeah. And I'm one of those people, I'll tolerate auto-tune if it's used sometimes, but if it's overly used, I'm like, no, like if you're using it on a chorus, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's acceptable, but overall for me, I just hate it. Like the second I hear it, I'm just like, nope, off. I really kind of stay under a rock with the hip hop shit. Like I don't listen to anything that's blowing up, you know, super big in the mainstream that all the kids are listening to. If, you know, that shit's just a distraction, I'd rather just keep it out of my ears and listen to the shit that I love listening to.
Yeah, like T-Pain's a perfect example. Like when I heard how his natural singing voice and his natural rap voice sounds, I'm like, why is he using auto-tune? His natural voice sounds perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the king of auto-tune. He's the only one that I think should get a pass on using that shit, because he's pretty much the inventor of it, or, you know, first person that really used it. But even he can sing, so it works with his voice. What bothers me is when you hear people rapping and shit, and they throw on like a plugin like Antares or something, and they just pitch correct and auto-tune their whole verse, and it, you know, it sounds like unnatural to me. I just hate the sound of robotic auto-tune vocals. Ugh.
Exactly.
Gotta keep it raw.
Hell yeah. And what is some of like your like top hip hop like influencers, if you had to pick your top 5 like producer influencers in hip hop?
Yeah, right off the bat, I gotta say Mikey Clark is a huge influence on me, especially for the production side. Necro as well as an artist and as a producer, because I know he makes all his own shit. So for me, that was super inspiring, and I grew up on a lot of Necro and Mr. Hyde and stuff. I would say that there obviously is a little bit of ICP and Slim Shady influence. I mean, who am I to lie? I'm a horrorcore rapper, you know. So I mean, of course, there's gonna be a little bit of influence there. But as of now, I've been bumping a lot of acts, a la Zoe Lou. I think that they're like the freshest thing in the horrorcore scene right now, and they're like one of the only rap groups that I've listened to in like the last year or two. Them and like Gmo Ski and stuff. I got to say that those both them are huge influences for me nowadays. They help keep that fire lit and make me feel like the horrorcore scene is still thriving in a positive way. But yeah, as far as old school influences, that's, you know, I'd say RZA is also a good inspiration for beat production. His just way he samples and cuts shit together. You can really hear that in my beat production, that there's a lot of inspiration that comes from his style of cutting beats.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked Q-Tip also because he would like mix jazz with hip hop and it would be like laid back shit.
Yeah, I do that a lot too. It's actually to the point where I've been doing a lot of shows and my set list has a lot of different types of tracks. Some of them are kind of jazzy and funky. Other ones are darker horrorcore. You know, there's a good mix of them. But locally, I've been starting to get some of the venues are trying to brand me as like a jazz hip hop artist. And I kind of had to come down on them and be like, yo, don't be putting that on the advertisement shit that I'm a jazz hip hop artist. Like that's putting me in a box that I don't really want to fit in, you know? I do it a little bit, but that's not what I'm about. So don't want to get people.
If anything, just call you just a hip hop artist because you, like you said, you do all styles.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't like being put in a box ever. Straight up. I'm very diverse with the music. I mean, some people are just full-time horrorcore, and I love horror so much, but if I just did horrorcore all the time, then I would just run out of inspiration and just burn out on it. The biggest thing for me right now is that I kind of have figured out a way to make horrorcore music that sounds different and is just different than what you traditionally hear, mainly through actual storytelling, you know, not just like rapping about cutting people up and all this fucked up shit, but actually telling a story with real characters that has like a climax to it by the third verse and shit like that. So the album I'm working on right now is that's the whole concept. Every song is a different horror story with different characters, trying to get some features on there. So just that's kind of the angle I'm taking right now with it.
And I like that's because that's what horrorcore originally started out as. It was like how hip hop is supposed to be a reflection of society. Horrorcore originally was a reflection of society in the form of like a horror movie. It's like saying, yeah, gangster rap, you talk about shit, but like horrorcore back in the day would like talk about conspiracy theories and all that shit. Like you have Flatliners, they had that dope album USA, which stood for Under Satan's Authority, which is dope.
Yeah. Speaking of conspiracy tracks, it just popped into my head. Vinny Paz, End of Days. That fucking song is the best. Oh, fuck, man. I used to bump that shit all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, one of my other favorite rappers that does that, or he's like a conscious rapper, is Immortal Technique.
Yep. I remember the first time I heard, Dancing with the Devil? That I heard that when I was in high school. That shit hit different. And that's the kind of storytelling rap that I'm talking about too, where it has like an actual climax and a twist, and you're like, whoa, didn't expect that. I mean, that type of hip hop is timeless to me. Like, if you know how to tell a decent story on a hip hop beat and make it sound dope, it's going to be a timeless track if it's done right. And there's just not enough of that nowadays. I think Joyner Lucas is the only like recent rapper I can really think of that's done like a hard hitting story. Did you hear that one? I think it's called like Ross Cappuccino or something like that. I can't pronounce the guy's last name, but
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, I'll have to send you a link later. It's one of the best storytelling songs ever, and it hits hard. It's based off a true story, too. I don't want to say anything to ruin it because you just got to get into it and watch it. But, yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's one thing I always loved about, like, ICP, especially because ICP, even though they were clowns, but they could even tell, like, stories. Like, Jay is a very vivid storyteller, too, in his own right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's a huge inspiration too, is just the way he's able to tell stories without really going too crazy with the rhyme schemes and stuff. And if people know me, they know that I'm a stickler for rhyme schemes, like doing multi-syllable, like 6-syllable rhymes, you know, and having everything be consistent. But when it comes to telling stories, you kind of got to ease back on that a bit in order to get the story you're trying to tell out there, because that can be kind of a barrier for you, you know. So that's kind of the angle I'm taking with the new album, is just dialing not necessarily the lyricism back, but just trying to convey the stories in a clear way that doesn't get distracted by the rhyme schemes that I'm using in the songs. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, and another one of my all-time favorite like storytellers is like Slick Rick.
Slick Rick, I never listened to Slick Rick. I heard of him, but I never tuned into him.
Yeah, he's really dope.
Yeah, that's tight, man. Not enough storytellers out there. By chance, did you see that, what was it, that Fago Lovers horrorcore map that they just dropped today? I don't think it was them.
I think that's it, but... Yeah, I think that's dope because, like, I like that there's a lot of, like, dope horrorcore that does get recognized. Like, you have a lot of originators. Like, I've interviewed the originators, like the actual dudes like Flatliners who coined the term horrorcore, and it's cool because a lot of people don't know that is actually Russell Simmons' nephew, and he's also the nephew of one of the members of Run DMC. That's dope.
Damn, I did not know that.
Because back in those 90s, if you remember, in the early 90s, Def Jam was dabbling with like horror rap a lot.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard a couple fucking things. Yeah. Thing is that I was born in 95, so a lot of the shit that I've listened to, I was kind of backpedaling on shit that happened before me. It's kind of crazy. Even though I was, born in 95, I was raised around a lot of older culture. Like I was saying with my dad, he exposed me and my brother to a lot of really old school hip hop and like type origins type shit, and definitely had to do a lot of backpedaling. But at heart, I feel like I should have been born in the 80s, man, because I love everything about what the 80s seemed to be and represented. I can never say for sure because I wasn't there, but that's one of those things.
Yeah, and I think horror rap has always been around. Like people were even messing with it in the 80s. Like Will Smith back in the 80s was doing a horror rap song about being Freddy Krueger. How horror is
Yeah,
that?
I've heard that. I forgot about that shit.
The Fat Boys did a song about Freddy Krueger back in the day, and it was on that Nightmare on Elm Street soundtrack.
Yep. I think on one of the VHS copies I have of it, I'm pretty sure that music video they did for it plays at the end of the movie, like after the credits or right before the credits or something like that, on one of the versions I got. But yeah, that shit's pretty dope.
That's one thing I always liked, like back in those days when there was like original music, like for movies. There was even rap music in the Addams Family movies back in the day, literally for the movie. That's just awesome.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, it's all good shit. I mean, it definitely had a different sound back then, but with the album that I'm working on right now, I'm really kind of trying to bring back the not with every song, but some of the songs, I'm trying to bring back like the sound of 80s horror movies, like the kind of scores that you hear and the sound effects you hear. You hear that shit in like the used as samples in the actual songs. So I'm really trying to make it as nostalgic as I can. I want it to feel like this is how I want it to feel. I want it to be like you're watching Tales from the Crypt, but on a rap album. It's like you're listening to Tales from the Crypt. You know what I'm saying? Like a whole horror anthology with like a ghoul in between every songs, doing little skits and shit. That's kind of the vision for it, but we'll see how it shapes out. So.
Hell yeah. And that's one thing I've always loved is like concept albums.
And that's all I really do, and that's why it takes so long for me to put out certain albums, is because I try to focus hard on a concept. But I will say after this album drops, I am going to go back to focusing on singles and music videos, because like we were talking about earlier, that seems to be the way to gain traction right now with the way TikTok is set up and people's attention spans. It's really hard to get someone who's in a cold audience to come in and sit through an entire song of an artist they've never even heard of, and nobody wants to be forced to watch anything. So it's you definitely got to find new ways to promote your shit nowadays and get creative with it, and that's part of the challenge with this independent rap shit.
Okay. And if you had to pick, what are your top like 5 like greatest hip hop albums of like all time, like your top 5?
That's a good question. We're gonna start with My Grandma's Basement by Jaron Benton.
Oh yeah.
Fucking love that album. It's timeless. Great Malenko, I think, is ICP's best album ever. I gotta say, the Marshall Mathers, what is it, the LP?
Yeah,
that one, I have that in my car constantly spinning. Gmo Skis, Got Filth 2, I believe it was. That one, when I heard that back in high school, that shit kind of took my whole thought process to a next level. 5, man, oof. I've never actually had to think about 5 albums. I would give it to Joyner Lucas's Along Came Joyner. I would say that one's one of my favorite albums. That might not have been an album. That might have been a mixtape, but that's definitely in the top 5. So, yeah, man, those are all very influential albums on me. I would say the last like 10 years of my career. Not Great Malenko dates back further than that, but the other ones.
Oh yeah, Great Malenko made like a lot of history. A lot of people don't know is that was actually like the first like rap hip hop album out of Detroit by a rap group or a rap act in general out of Detroit to go platinum.
You probably give it all to Disney because I'm pretty sure Disney's the ones that first released that shit and then pulled it from the shelves like the same day. You know, that's crazy to me. When I first heard that story, when I was like maybe 11 years old when I first heard that story, and I was like, wow, that is the most crazy shit ever. And that was part of why I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And I started listening to them more. But that's a whole other story.
Oh yeah, that was me. I was like 8 or 9 when all that was going on, or 7.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely happening when I was a little younger, but my uncle and my cousin were huge juggalos, and you know, we spent a lot of time around them, and they were always jamming out to, you know, Mr. Hyde and ICP and Necro and all that shit. So that definitely played a huge part in mine and my brother's, you know, upbringing and music and everything.
Oh yeah, and before like ICP really went national, they were like known in like the surrounding states in the Midwest, like Ohio, Minnesota.
Yep, that's where I'm at, Minnesota. Fucking, it's an interesting state, man. The music scene here is definitely different than a lot of places that I've seen. It's really hard to find a hip hop audience if you're not like directly in Minneapolis, you know. And even in Minneapolis, it's. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience there. I represent in Duluth and Grand Rapids, but you really got to try to find the people that are willing to come out to hip hop shows. There's a lot of bluegrass, a lot of country, and like classic rock. Those are like the big things here, you know. I will say Duluth has a pretty good scene though for being alternative. It's just super underground, you know. It's like I said, you really got to try to find those people that are trying to come out to those types of shows. So it's an interesting scene.
Well, then, since you're in Minnesota, you probably know all about Liquid Assassin and what a beast that dude is.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. I used to listen to him a little bit back in the day. I'm not like super into a lot of Minnesotan artists, right? Like you got Prof, you got Atmosphere and shit like that. You would think that because I'm in Minnesota, I would listen to a lot of that shit, but I really don't. Like I said, I tune out to a lot of people, especially nowadays. And I'm really close-minded in terms of who I'm listening to, mainly for the creative process. But no, Liquid Assassin is dope. Fucking, he's raw as hell. He kills it.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much like how I am. I'll listen to all genres of rap. But since I'm originally from Denver, a lot of the rap that really pertained to a lot of us was a lot of that West Coast shit.
Yeah, my homie lives out in Denver now. I've made a lot of music with him before. He goes by Lane Newman, used to go by Crimson. Yeah, he lives out in Colorado. He's been there a while. I'm actually trying to get out there to do a show pretty soon since he's out there and try to tap into that scene a little bit.
Oh yeah, Denver's got a great scene. Like I know Scum personally and stuff. Like the underground scene in Denver especially is like phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the horrorcore does pretty well there, I take it.
Yeah, or just music in general. It doesn't even have to be hip hop. It can be hip hop, rock, anything.
Word. Yeah, we filmed a music video out there when I every once in a while I fly out there to see him, and we filmed one called Eat It Up over on, what was it, Colfax Street or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know all about that street growing up.
He told me there was something about it. I don't remember what the fuck he told me, but yeah, we filmed over there, and it was a pretty tight video. It was pretty raw. It did all right. But yeah, you said you moved out of Denver. Where are you at now?
I'm currently living in the Tampa, Florida area.
Oh shit! I got a homie that lives out there. I don't know if he's in Tampa necessarily, but he's in Florida. Vector Prime. He's another MC. Super raw. He kind of has that Immortal Technique type of style. Super raw like that. But yeah, hell yeah. How do you like it down there?
I love it. Well, if he ever wants to be on the show, have him hit me up. I'd be down to have him on.
Word. Yeah, he might be in Tampa even. I don't know. I've heard stories about Florida. I don't know if I would ever go down there. The humidity sounds like it would just be a nightmare.
I thought that too, and then once I moved down here, I'm like, it's tolerable. I guess the only thing is if it's too hot, don't go outside, and then just have your AC in the house and just make sure you have AC in the car. As long as you have all that, you're good.
That makes sense. Yeah, in Minnesota, it gets pretty fucking cold pretty quick. You know, we only have like 4 months of actual summer weather, you know, and that's like 70 degrees. But the rest of the time, it's fucking freezing here.
Oh yeah, because you guys get a lot of that snow from like Canada and shit.
Yeah, and I'm a snowboarder, so it's totally cool with me. I love to snowboard, and if you know, that's the only reason why I don't leave this state. Like, if there was no snowboarding here, I would have no reason to really be here besides, you know, family and friends, I guess. But I would get out somewhere where there's more of an actual hip hop scene. But you know, the way the internet is right now, it doesn't really matter where you're stationed at. It just matters where you can get to when you need to be there.
Well, that's what's good about Denver. You have a great music scene, and then when you want to go snowboarding, you go up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I haven't actually snowboarded in Denver. We usually go out west to like not North Dakota, like Montana or Oregon, places like that. The mountains out there are nuts, man. Holy shit.
But yeah, where I live in Florida, it's Lakeland, so it's still considered Tampa. It's basically just like a suburb of Tampa.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to end up there someday. I mean, I'm hoping to set out on tour here pretty soon, but it'll end up being a Midwest tour to start out before I stretch out more to the south part of the country, you know?
Oh yeah, I've been checking out like a lot of the Florida scene, and a lot of the Florida indie scene down here is dope.
Is it? Okay, that's surprising. All right. That's good to know.
And then you have like artists down here, like you have Ghostmane, who's originally from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's got bars. Like I was like showing my fiance him, and I was like showing her how he can change his tone of voice really quick to straight fast rapping to straight like grunge singing. And she's like, "This is all the same dude." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Damn, that's talented."
He's a good example of someone who's doing it differently, and I can definitely respect that when people find a way to do it just unique, you know?
Oh yeah, I think the best way some people described him is some people said he's like the Marilyn Manson of rap or something.
That is a pretty big name to live up to, but yeah, I could see it. I could see it going there for sure.
And he does have a little bit of like that trap rap metal influence, but it's like not. It's actually he does it right.
Yeah, no, I hear that for sure. Yeah, all the power to him, man. If you can find a way to do it different than everybody else, that's going to help you in the long run. I mean, I'm just tired of hearing people do the same shit on trap beats, and it's gotten real old, real fucking old.
Oh yeah, like I remember like when like 3 6 Mafia did that shit back in the day, and even back then 3 6 Mafia was dabbling with horror. They were known as 666 Mafia back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, anytime somebody brings up Suicide Boys, I like to throw that out there and be like, yeah, I mean, they kind of got their style from 3 6 if you really look at it. But
oh yeah, some people will say 3 6. I've always described them as I love their music, but I always say they're like a 3 6 Mafia and Lil Wayne had a baby together.
Yep, right on the fucking money right there, man. Straight up. I mean, I don't listen to that type of shit, but they're pretty popular. So again, good for them for doing that thing.
Oh yeah. If you ever get a chance to see their show, their live show is phenomenal.
Is it? That's good to hear, because it definitely seems like a lot of live performances have been falling flat with certain artists. It seems like a lot of people are doing the whole thing where they just play their song or even half of their song and they just jump around on stage doing a couple words here and there. Like, I don't want to throw shade at anybody specifically, but when I was at the Gathering last year watching some acts on the main stage, there was a lot of people doing that, just playing their song and just jumping around, saying a couple words here and there. They weren't even fucking rapping, you know? So it is good to hear when people are actually performing, not just dancing around. It's that shit, when it comes to like the culture of hip hop, that shit's like mad disrespectful if you're not up there actually fucking rapping your shit and giving a real performance. You don't see that in rock and roll. You don't see that in metal. You know, you don't see the fucking people up there like pretending to play guitar and like saying certain words, you know. It's just disrespectful when people do that shit.
Exactly, and that's part of one of the many reasons why I've always enjoyed ICP is just their live stage presence. Like, you know, it's phenomenal.
Oh my god, man. I saw ICP for the first time in my life live. I think it was 2016 or 17. I think it was 16. That was in Minneapolis, and it was a pretty dope show, man. It was insane. But then when I saw them at the Gathering last year, holy fuck, dude, that was the best live performance I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Like, I can't, the theatrics and the props and shit they used, dude, it like inspired me to want to put more work into my live shows and get actors and live props, you know, more theatrics, more special effects and shit. It's crazy. Not a lot of people are doing it like that.
Oh yeah, and I think that's one of the many reasons. Like, I took my mom to a show, and she's like, "Okay, now I see why you love ICP, because their stage presence is phenomenal."
Yep, exactly, man. It's next level shit. I will always recommend somebody see an ICP show at least once, even if they're not a juggalo, even if they've never heard ICP. Just maybe stay in the back so you don't take a fucking Faygo bottle to the face like I fucking did.
I've taken a few bottles to the face, and I don't care. I'm just like, whatever. You get so hyped, man. You don't care.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of the experience. I've kept a few of the Faygo bottles. I got nailed directly in the chest by one that Shaggy fucking launched at the Minneapolis show. I was right up in the front, and he fucking let it go straight down, nailed me right in the chest, knocked me back 1.5 feet. I snatched that bitch up. I'm like, I'm taking this fucker home with me. I got it in the back of the room somewhere.
Yeah, that happened to me, and when my friend went to his first show, he got like smacked square in the face, and he chipped a tooth and stuff, but he said it was totally worth it.
Oh man, so at the gathering, I was just saying I got smacked in the face too. There was a guy standing next to me. He's a pretty big dude, right? And the Faygo bottle like went off to the side and then bounced back like a boomerang, and it like sideswept across the audience, and it would have hit him, and he saw it and like stepped back, and that's why it ended up hitting me right in the face. And I don't know if he felt bad or what, but he like tapped my shoulder right after, and he like grabbed my hand and put something in my hand. I look, and it's like a steel lighter case with like a skull on it or something. I was like, oh, word. And he's like, just thumbs up and walked away. Didn't say anything. So that was an interesting experience. I mean, the gathering is nuts, man. I made so many friends there, so many dope people. I'm actually really depressed that I can't go to it this week. It's
I am too, especially because Sugar Hill Gang's gonna be there.
Oh, what?
Yep.
You're kidding me. I didn't even fucking hear that. What the fuck? Dude, this lineup this year is insane. They got so many good people coming.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised who else is also performing there. Remember Arrested Development?
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
God damn, that makes it feel... I'm getting married pretty soon here, actually, coming September. I've been with my girl for about 8 years.
Congrats.
So we're about to finally... Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We're about to finally get married this September, so that's why I'm not going. Otherwise, I'd be there partying with all the fam. Shout out Strange JRB. Whoop, whoop. I'm just... Yeah, next year, though. I'll be there fucking next year.
Oh, yeah, and that's one thing I always liked about a show is when there's a pit, any of those shows, whenever there's a pit going on, everyone leans over and picks someone up and they help them up, which is good.
Yeah, that's all love, man. I've always been told it's all love. I've met my fair share of juggalos here in Minnesota, but never to the capacity of the gathering, obviously. And it really is all love. Everybody's looking out for everybody, it seems. I didn't see a single fight break out between anybody. I mean, it was just good vibes the whole time. No worries.
Oh, yeah. And then, since you're a big horror movie buff, if you had to pick, what is your top 5 like horror movie series or just horror movies in general, if you had to pick?
Yeah, man. I mean, as you can see, I got a DVD collection back there. Counting like 400 or 500 DVDs, something like that. I have this app that I document all my DVDs on by barcode, so it's like a little library. But anyways, number 1, definitely the Texas Chainsaw Massacre original one from '74. Oh, yeah. Best fucking horror movie ever, in my opinion. Followed by Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. Oh man, what's hard about it is I want to list all the slasher originals because I love most of the original slasher movies. But definitely Texas Chainsaw 1, Nightmare Part 3. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon is a classic. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think so.
It's like a film documentary about this slasher guy, but he's like kind of a normal guy behind the mask, and it's a crazy movie. By the end of it, it just hits the fan.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, it's super original. It has some comedy in it, but it has Robert Englund as a cameo. He's kind of like the what do they call him? The Ahab. He's like the hero, yeah. It's so hard to just choose a couple. I'm trying to think here. I almost want to grab my computer, walk to the back, and just take a look and just refresh my memory. I'll give it to Halloween, the original, because that is obviously just a downright awesome fucking movie.
Agreed.
Come on, Hunter, you can think of a good one. You know how hard that is of a question for someone who just has so many favorites. I'll give it to a new one. I'll say X is probably up there with some of my favorite horror movies that I've seen in the last, 10 years. I'll give that a top spot. Have you seen X?
I haven't, but I watched that movie Smile, and even though it's PG-13, that movie scared the shit out of me. That movie was just fucked up.
Yeah, I thought Smile was pretty good. I liked toward the end of it when you had, the embodiment of whatever the fuck that evil thing was, where it just looks like a giant lady or some shit, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, that shit literally creeped me the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck?
that gave me old school horror vibes, and I appreciate that. And a lot of movies are starting to do that again, where they're bringing back old school tropes, but in a refreshing way. The new Evil Dead Rise movie blew my expectations out of the water. That was such a fantastic movie, you know. But yeah, check out X, man. It's a very original concept. It kind of has the Texas Chainsaw vibe. Oh shit, you know what? I do got to take X out. I got one better. House of a Thousand Corpses definitely has a spot in my top 5.
Oh yeah.
But X is worth checking out too, because fantastic film. The horror genre really has been making a comeback the last few years. I looked up a list online to see what the best years of horror movies have been. I think it was 1978 was the #1 greatest year for horror movies in all of history. The second one, believe it or not, was 2022. Last year was the second greatest year for horror movies. And if you really look back at it, there were so many gems that came out last year. So many, you know, minus Halloween Ends. I wish Halloween Ends had been better, but yeah, we're in a golden age, man. A new resurrection of the horror genre. It's coming.
Oh yeah. And before we let you go, do you want to give any shout outs or plugs?
Yeah, I'll give a couple shout outs. Shout out my boy Enoch X Mortis. He's a homie that I linked up with the last year. We're actually working on a song right now. I can't speak too much on it in specifics, but it might lead to pretty big things with him and I as artists collaborating. Definitely check his shit out. He's an up and coming artist, super grimy, super dope with the flows, the beats, raw as hell. Got to give a shout out to my buddy Bradster X. He be killing it. He dropped a dope ass album last year called The Last Ride. Definitely check that out. It was him and Coop that did it. Yeah, I think I shouted out a bunch of other homies throughout the video. So yeah, you guys got my recommendations. And definitely check out Behind the Mask, because not just you, Don, but all you motherfuckers, check out Leslie Vernon Behind the Mask. That fucking movie is the shit.
Hell yeah, and you're always welcome back on the show anytime, man. If you ever want to come on and promote anything, just let me know, and I will definitely book a spot for you.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll get a hold of you closer to this October, closer to the time that I'm going to have some shit dropping. We'll get to talking. I appreciate you letting me on here. Shout out to Carnival Spirits, Hours of Chaos, Don Chaos. You were the fucking man. It's been dope. Keep it in.
Hell yeah. Later, man.
Peace.
Hell yeah, y'all. That was Ill Fortune. So now we are going to go ahead and bring our other guest on. Thank you, Ill Fortune, for joining us. Yay, yay. Yes, that most definitely. Yeah, Smile was really good. The end was fucking creepy, though. The end of Smile creeped me the fuck out. That thing at the end when it was manifesting its form, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Me and Amanda were like, oh my god, this movie is fucked up. Yeah, it's been pretty hot down here, man. It's been pretty hot down here in Florida, you know. A lot of those wildfires in Canada are making it like super hot, even down here. But then again, it's summer down here in Florida, so it's like very humid. Ooh, 91. I'm gonna ask what the weather. Alexa, what's the weather?
Right now in Lakeland, it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit with partly cloudy skies. Tonight's forecast is clear skies with a low of 74 degrees.
Well, there you guys go. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and bring our next guest on here. Please welcome to the show the one and only Rejektz in Power. Bow, bow, bow.
2. And not only, there's a third one, but he's not here.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But 3 and sort of only Rejektz in Power. Because really, like, our shit ain't about us. You know what I mean? Like, it's about them. That is also us.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show, y'all. Welcome and stuff.
Indeed. I'm new to this whole podcast thing, man. I ain't gonna lie. I thought we were gonna like do some pre-questions, so now I'm gonna just answer on impulse.
Oh yeah,
Just
and this is
disclaimer.
I always like doing this. It's fun because, especially because like my podcast, it feels like it's just like a chill session. So as you probably saw, we just ask like typical questions. It's cool. It's just like chilling with a homie.
Digs.
Oh yeah. So what we do when you have people on the show is you guys just give a brief introduction, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been doing music. And yeah, we will ask with the questions.
Well, I'm that motherfucker Jenkins, and at this point, I've been doing this shit longer than I haven't, so I don't have a good reason anymore. Other than it's what I always do.
I'm Spaz Nasty, and I've been doing this for like 8 years. I want to say maybe a little longer. I was promoting music a couple years before I started making music, but I'm still doing this shit because motherfuckers died with Rejekt tattooed on their face, and because of that, I'm stuck in this shit forever. You know what I mean? Like, plus most of us Rejektz ain't got shit else but us, so we're here to stay one way or the other.
Yeah, shouts to Jay Bazaar for making this happen. Jay Bazaar, that's my dude.
Yeah, that's my dude as well, dude. Yeah. Did you see the fucking Tinted Coca-Pelli charm he just fucking did? That shit's dope.
Hell yeah.
Dope as fuck.
Yes, that is the greatest stage name of all time. I agree, it is.
Thank you. But I only use one S. The second S is a Z because I ain't a Nazi. I can't have 2 S's in my name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's logic there.
It's not flawless, but it's logic. You know what I mean?
It's pretty close.
So yeah, and how did each of you guys like come up with like your rap names, and did you guys go by other names before you went with how you guys came up with now?
My name's been my name since I was like 10. Well, it wasn't like Spaz Nasty. It was like Little Spaz because I was a little fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? And now I'm just a big fucking weirdo. So at some point, the little went off and the nasty got added and shit somewhere about 2008.
That is, more people have always known me than I've known them, so I was always that motherfucker over there. So that motherfucker just became a slang of it, and I'm from the South, so Jenkins seemed to fit.
Hell yeah,
it's,
so
it's,
like
it's pretty simple.
Basically.
We're simple folk around here.
And Rejektz in Power, like the Rejektz, give us the power to do any of this music shit. All these shows that we get put on, all the merch that we've been able to put out, and the extent that we've been able to chase this nightmare of a dream, you know what I mean? Like, it's because of them that we can do it. So, like, it was obvious for the name of this group, the collaboration between us, to be Rejektz in Power. Also, it's RIP, and you know what I mean? We're a little spooky and shit, so.
Too spooky for me, dog.
Too spooky for him,
I'm
and
going,
he's part
I'm
of
going
the
back
group.
to jazz, bro.
Part of the group, and we're too spooky for him.
Hell yeah. And how did you guys actually like link up? What made you guys want to link up, and where are you guys like based out of right now?
We knew the same people.
Yeah.
And just shit fell into place.
Yeah, he rapped, I rapped.
You talked me back into rap.
He was like, I dig your rap. I used to do it. Yeah, it went from there. We made a couple dope ass tracks in my trailer back in the day. I had Rejektz spray painted on a wall and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, back when we used to wear masks.
Yeah, back when I used to put a mask on my face to rap and shit. Now I'm too lazy. And it's sweaty in a mask.
Yeah.
Like, all these motherfuckers rapping in masks, just know they face smell like shit.
Yeah, they got.
I use it. My face
constitution
used
than
to
me.
smell like shit,
Oh,
especially with the facial hair and the sweat. It get all cakey and shit.
this little crease under the neck.
Yeah, talking about creases under the neck. Some of us got 2 of them.
I was talking about yours, dog.
Hell yeah. What city do you guys represent right now?
Like Cincinnati area, man. Like I'm in Northern Kentucky. He's in Northern Kentucky. We got homies up in Ohio that are part of this shit. Like Indiana, like our headquarters is in Indiana. So like we're kind of regional more than one city at this point. Like we kind of rep half our fucking state and a good chunk of the bottom of the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you could say parts of the Midwest, part of the Ohio Valley area.
I've been paid to rap as far north as New York, as far south as Alabama, and as far west as Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. And you guys know, like every time we usually ask our guests, like, you guys know, explain how like the music scene is in Ohio. Like the underground scene there, I can see is like very lit. Like you have so many dope acts
In our area, Rejekts are the scene in our area. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Columbus, which is a clown town that I love. You know what I mean? It's not.
Columbus is like blessed with a lot of other singular dope groups. Too.
Right, a bunch of them. But like
Rejekts
around here,
shit
we
house.
don't have. We don't have enough competition. We need more fucking competition around here, for real.
You guys heard it here. They need competition.
Yeah, man. If you're in our area,
I mean, not competition because we got hands, dog. We need people that want to come here and do good.
He means
shit.
like friendly
That's what I mean.
competition.
Yeah. Fuck competition, dude. I'm
Like
in this
friendly
to
competition.
build and have fun. I
Okay,
ain't warring
fair
with
enough.
nobody.
I ain't trying to war with nobody.
I got
That
gray
ain't
hair
what I
on my
mean.
balls, dog. I ain't warring with nobody no more.
Yeah, I just told you earlier. I was like, I ain't trying to throw hands. I just shoot somebody nowadays, dude. I bought guns, so I don't have to fight nobody anymore. I fought for 20 years, like. But yeah,
Why do that when you can just like battle someone on the mic the old-fashioned way, which was cool.
no, I mean I used to do that too, which led to me fighting on stage. I really ain't trying to compete with anybody. I just mean like we need more talent in our fucking region. I've been branching out, and I've pulled a couple people in that's like it's different than our scene, but what they're doing is dope. And that's what we're doing tomorrow. We got a show, and it's like it's a blended scene thing because we don't have enough people to do like the dark shit with us.
No, but there's plenty
You know
of
what I
people
mean?
around here
But
that
there's
wanna
plenty of
build and
people
have
who
fun.
want to build and have fun and do their shit, and it's also dope
That's
in
why
a different way.
we got the grumpy old guy to get on stage tomorrow with a bunch of these young kids because they know how to have fun.
Right,
They're
they
good
do not
people.
have fun.
And that's one thing I'm liking is a lot of like veterans out there are really like putting it on, like putting out like a lot of these young talented people that are talented. Like Jay said it best in an interview. He's like, it's us job as the old schoolers to pave the way and help these young people out there who do have talent.
Absolutely.
It's like it's our job to be the teachers, basically.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. No
I'm not
doubt.
the-
That's actually how like we fucking jump started our scene essentially because like we didn't have any major underground shows here for between 5 and 8 years roughly. Like there might have been one fluke or another
Clowns got
fluke.
banned from Bogarts.
The Clowns got banned from
They wouldn't let 'em
Bogart,
come.
so there was like there wasn't much of like an underground or jug scene. Like there was plenty of us. There was plenty of the people who fucked with it, but there wasn't enough shows
We were all
for
going
us
to
to do it.
Columbus.
So me and like a motherfucker that we used to rap with and shit was like, dude, we got to bring this shit back, even if we got to do it ourselves. And that's really where the Rejekt movement started. We did a show called The Underground Resurrection, and we successfully like pulled shit. Like rumor has it, Shaggy just announced this shit, and like our city's the first one on the second leg. You know what I mean? So we will attend. You know what I mean? Per usual.
Oh yeah, now one thing we always usually ask a lot of our guests, like each of you can ask us, like, what's the first like song that you guys remember, music in general, that made you individually like fall in love with music? Like it could be something you heard, it could be something someone in your family was listening to, and you're like, what is this?
Man, my taste in music is way too eclectic
Yeah.
to narrow it down to one thing. Like I grew up listening to everything besides rap actually until I was like, I don't know, 10 years old. And my friend handed me a fucking ICP tape. And that's kind of where like my rap music started, and then I
That
branched
explains a
off
lot.
listening to everything. You know what I mean?
explains a
But
lot.
like, I grew up listening to like heavy metal and fucking. My mom listened to country music shit. You know what I mean? And not like the cool country that Jelly Roll's doing, but like Garth
Like
Brooks.
that 90s, 80s shit, like Willie Nelson.
Yeah, exactly. My mom loves that shit.
She probably got an Alan Jackson tattoo.
Nah, she don't. She don't. But she does karaoke. She might sing some Alan Jackson.
I can tell you that it's the Atmosphere track "Always Coming Home to You" is the song that made me want to rap. I heard that early in high school. Before that, I was just playing bass.
Oh yeah, and if you guys can remember, what was like the first like album you remember buying with your own money?
Man, that's hard too. Honestly, I want to say it was a fucking stupid ass Jet CD. For
Your
real.
first album was with that album, though.
Like the first one I bought in the store, I was young. I was like, oh, that Cold Hard Bitch song's cool. I was lame as fuck. They didn't call me Spaz because I was cool. You know what I mean?
Here's the age gap. Mine was a Metallica album. It's the first CD I bought.
I didn't have to buy those. My stepdad had those in the house and shit. Like, I grew up, I could name any of their songs.
I think it was probably either Load or Reload.
I didn't have to buy none of that shit. That shit, I grew up on that, Pink Floyd, all that.
I stole a lot more CDs than I ever bought, though.
Me too.
Because Shaggy fucked around.
Yeah, that was like me. In my household, there was like a lot of old country rock, like Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and all that.
Yeah, my dad drank a lot of whiskey and listened to George Strait all the time.
Oh yeah.
My mom listened to like Tupac and R&B and all that, so that's where that shit came in.
Which, speaking of that, you guys watched that new documentary series?
What was that? My bad. The neighborhood out here is kind of cool as fuck, but they wild. You know what I mean? Like, it's fireworks till the lights go out outside. When the sun goes down, them motherfuckers are shooting guns and fireworks.
Brick City out
Like
here,
every like from middle of June on till the end of July, shit's blowing up outside. So we could not hear you.
Yeah, they just sell them things.
Yeah, if you guys haven't check out that new documentary series on FX. It's called Dear Mama. It's a Tupac documentary about him and his mom. It's really good.
No, I saw advertisements for that.
Yeah, it is good.
I forgot they were making it.
Like, there's even rare footage of him that I didn't even know that there was. I'm like, damn.
That's what's up.
You know what I can't believe? I can't believe people have the audacity to be like, Tupac wasn't that good.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Or they say Tupac's overrated. It's like, fuck
right.
you.
Like, how? Like, when he was doing it, there wasn't thousands of options.
Tomorrow there's going to be 20,000 people out front of that Taylor Swift concert without tickets, so there's no accounting for taste.
Fair enough.
Music's subjective. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about music. I care about what I say about it. They don't have to listen to it. I love the Dave Matthews Band, dog. I don't care if you do.
No, that's fair.
Everybody hates on his ass, but I don't give a shit. Or you write a better album and let me go see it.
Oh yeah, I'm very diverse with my music too. Like, I just love music in general. Like, I could like listen to Tupac and then I could put on like some like Elton John type shit, and then some
Matchbox
Bob
20
Marley,
fucking
then
slaps, bro.
some Prince.
You ain't gonna tell me Saving Ezra don't slap.
I listen to everything, dude. Like, it could be Frank Sinatra, the fucking Dirty Heads, the fucking some Fallout parody music. Fuck, I even made a Fallout song with this motherfucker. That motherfucker is this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right, or it's like with Nirvana. How could you not like Nirvana or Kurt Cobain?
What?
I mean, I even love like Kurt Cobain and Nirvana. That shit
yeah.
Dude, Soundgarden's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Soundgarden
Grunge is where my heart is.
dope as fuck.
Oh, yeah. And one of the questions we ask our guests is, you guys are stuck on a desert island. You have to take only 5 albums with you. Which albums are you taking to listen on that desert island for the rest of your life?
Man, I ain't got a CD player. I'm gonna take my phone.
Or if you have your phone, or if you don't have a CD player, if you have your phone, whose discography are you bringing with you if you had to choose?
I got mad discographies downloaded, dude. I bought the big SD card with the gigabytes, lots of them. So I could listen to 30 hours of music and not hear the same song twice without streaming something.
Oh yeah.
No, but like if you gotta pick 5.
I can't pick 5, dude. I can remember more than
Like
5
when he was
albums.
going over the list with the other dude, like I told you, I could easily write like probably you can't imagine how much fun we're having by Atmosphere, a new Danger by Mos Def, like shit like that. Metallica, Ride the Lightning has got to come.
Right.
You know, like there's shit if you can't take like your whole fucking flash drive, dog, you'd be able to pick out some of it. Like I got to take Jim Croce's greatest hits because some days you just need a Mai Tai and some acoustic guitar, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do with our guests too. Is we'll sometimes say, okay, or if you had to choose 5 greatest hits by an artist or group, which greatest hits would you take?
Fuck it. I'm bringing Dean Martin.
Nice.
His greatest hits album. You know what I mean? Because that's some lively, fucking dope ass music. That's probably my first one. Man.
Yes,
It's so there's a lot of good music though. Like
That's
a shit
the
ton.
fun of the question.
Yeah. Oh.
Ding, ding.
I'm gonna go with fucking. I gotta bring Brother Lynch's Dinner in the movie. I can't not. You know what I mean? Got him is fucking devil shit. You know what I mean? Fucking that one. Fucking 6 minutes. That motherfucker's cold. Shit, I'm gonna bring a Jay Bazaar CD too, man. You know what I mean? Like I gotta bring the homie for real. And then I'm gonna bring like one of our other motherfuckers too, because I listen to our people shit or like random shit. Yeah, ugly
That's
for
like,
fans and them.
Yeah, that's a
like
fuck
that
ton of
shit.
tracks that are all
That whole album was fucking dope as fuck. Yeah, that's all I got. I did pretty good. I didn't study.
You actually did do. Yeah, Ride the Lightning by Metallica. I love that album. It's always a toss-up between that or, of course, Master of Puppets.
Yeah, or Kill 'Em All. You know what I mean? Metal Militia. Dude, if you can hear that song and not want to, like, punch your neighbor in the face, I don't even want to be your friend.
Right? And even though people say that's their blowout album, the Black Album, I love the Black Album. I don't
good.
give
A lot of people shit on Load and Reload too, but they
were great.
Those are fucking blues albums and like
Right,
drop C
they're
too.
ballads.
They're not fucking thrash albums. They're blues albums, and they're phenomenal at what they do.
Oh, yeah. No, I was actually listening to Reload the other day.
Dude, it's a good album, dude.
Like, all the way through.
Just like it's hard for me to name a great Iron Maiden album, but if I had to pick my top Iron Maiden album is Number of the Beast.
Yo, I've had a couple Iron Maiden albums over the course of my life because I had like a love affair with like fucking power metal.
Yeah,
but
no,
I couldn't name them, and I could only name like maybe 1 or 2 Megadeth albums too.
Yeah,
but they were everything I've heard from Megadeth is dope. They just didn't stick with me like Metallica did.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was actually listening to Flight of the Icarus the other day. Like, for real though. The same day I was listening to other shit because I was on a long ass drive. I was listening to everything. My co-pilot was like, "What the fuck, dude? like you're not playing one genre or nothing."
We don't get pissed because we're going on a 4-hour road trip, and I'll put on like a Warhammer audiobook and make the listen to it.
I did that, but it was Under the Dome for 2 hours, dude.
Yeah, like the Beatles, Abbey Road, that is probably my top Beatles album.
The Beatles are dope, period. In my
I like my top 3 Beatles albums. It's Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper, and then the White Album.
Yeah, I don't even like Socialism, but the Beatles are okay.
Oh, but like, did you ever see when they inducted George Harrison into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and they got Tom Petty and Prince to play While My Guitar Gently Weeps? It's the best version of that song. None of the Beatles are playing it. It's Tom Petty and Prince delivers not one of, but the single coldest fucking guitar solo that has ever been heard on that track. So like, I love what people have done with the Beatles, but the Beatles, for everything they're worth and all the respect they deserve, people did better with it.
Oh yeah, I love like Tom Petty. Tom Petty's the shit. I love him.
I'm from Florida originally, dude. I can't not love Tom
I
Petty.
love that Tom Petty was the first person to like make a song about necrophilia and it get played at Waffle House every goddamn day.
It's always
you know what I mean?
With you, dog.
It might be about that bitches with me, but it was about that bitches with Tom Petty first. That's my point. And he made everybody else love it. Motherfuckers be singing the song and have no clue. He's talking about fucking a dead bitch. Mary Jane's Last Dance was necrophilia. You know what I mean? She ain't saying no because she was dead.
It's a hot
I know.
take.
I know it's crazy when you look back on some old songs back in the day and you look at what the meaning behind that song was and you're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Right?
Like the Beatles, you dig deep into their shit. They had some pretty dark, ecliptic shit sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, so did Billy Joel, though. It's like Only the Good Die Young is not a song to be playing at your child's funeral, dude. But everybody does that, too.
Oh, yeah. And what was your guys' like first song that you guys remember hearing by ICP? Like everyone remembers when they first heard their first ICP song and how they reacted. For you guys, which song was your first and how did you guys react to it and get into it?
I got a whole ass story, so if you got an easy answer, give it.
Yeah, I was on a school bus and I was listening to Dave Matthews and my dude said, "Hey, peep this." So I took that CD out, it was Under the Table and Dreaming, and I put in fucking Riddlebox. And I was listening to fucking God damn, which one was it? Is it Chicken Hunting on that?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. It was either that or Boogie Woogie Woo, but that's on Great Lincoln.
Mr. Johnson's dead.
See, it took me a while to get into ICP on the dark tip because I was a broken kid, but I was like sad broken. That's why like Slug from Atmosphere has been my number one MC since I was like 14, 15 years old. Because I was the sad boy shit before like Lil Peep made it cool. And then I learned how to fight by losing fights.
That's
and I got
how to fight. That's how it works.
It took a while for the violent shit to click with me. But once it did, I understood kind of the storytelling behind it, like you had mentioned.
See, my homie in like school handed me a fucking Carnival of Carnage tape, dude. And fuck, I listened to that shit. I was walking around. I was a young ass kid cussing and shit, saying juggler, juggler. My mom would beat me for it. And it made me love it even more, dude. So like I called myself a juggler for a long time before I realized that there was like other juggalos and shit. It was strange as fuck. But yeah, definitely the whole album. I like what he did with like the Wizard of the Hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's the best.
That fucking Fuck Your Rebel Flag. Like that album was fucking cold as fuck, and it was. I wasn't even a big fan of like rap at the time. That's what got me into rap, and then I listened to like, of course, other ICP albums and then other rappers, and I even like Eminem, like fucking.
Right.
But yeah,
and I like that people are going back. Like some people are now realizing that Carnival of Carnage is a classic, and it's like it's got so much good jams.
Right,
like,
it might sound like shit, but
No,
they
it's
were
a
real
snapshot
fuck.
of the time, dog. That's
Yeah.
what it is. All hip hop sounded like that back then.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, and that's
gotta
one thing I was
remember,
gonna say. Like you could tell how ICP sounds, like what music was
Yeah,
around at that time,
People
just by what
forget
they're
that Wu-Tang
hearing.
and
Like when you
Dr.
hear,
Dre changed the whole fucking landscape with what beats and shit were sounding like, and then you had all the other producers that came along after that. Like Timbaland's still fucking shit up and
oh
changing
yeah,
it
like
all
when
up.
you hear Carnival of Carnage, you can hear like a lot of NWA and Beastie Boys influence on there.
Yeah, I could say that.
And I always like the theme of Carnival of Carnage. Like when some people always tell me which Joker's card do I like, I'm like, that's hard to choose because I like all of them and their own unique thing. But the one where what message I really like the most is like Carnival of Carnage, probably.
Hell's Pit.
Hell's
That's an
Pit-
easy answer.
Hell's Pit hit me
Hell's
at a
Pit.
time when I needed,
it,
dude.
right?
So,
Oh, yeah, that album got me through
I was
so
young.
much in high school. It's not even funny.
That first Dark Lotus album too, the red one, when that first dropped, that
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
they had ever released touched me like the first Lotus album, Hell's Pit. I don't know if it's taboo to talk Twisted on here or not. They had a couple of those too, where like the right shit was released at the right time in my life, for like that cemented me where I was at. Because like the first tattoo I got in a shop was my Hatchet Man right here. You know what I mean? Like it's always gonna be there.
Yeah, man. But I got whooping cough one year.
Yeah.
And I don't whoop no more
Yeah,
because
really.
my whooper is broken.
It's almost a joke to this point where it's more fun to tell these young juggalos, hey, we don't whoop around here, just to see how they react to it. Because he's caught me doing it at shows. I've done it at the mall. Because I got a big battle vest with a Hatchet Man on the back of it, so I get whooped at all the time. I'll just turn around like that kind of shit. It fucks people up, dude. It's funny.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Yeah, it's one thing I always liked is like one thing Jay's gonna go down is like, or ICP in general, they're gonna go down as like some of the top like storytellers and like rap.
He's in the running. He's got to be in the running. Like, I'll give him that.
I've always just love hip hop in general, whether it's storytelling, rap, and I always tell people ICP is like so diverse. Yeah, they have humor shit, but sometimes if you dig deep, there's some real personal
Under
shit
the
in
Moon,
there.
bro. That's the one I use as an example. Under the Moon. Like, you just let somebody who has never heard ICP listen to that, and you don't tell them it's ICP until after the fact. Everybody's gonna feel something like right here with that one. Just get rid of the like predetermined biases, I guess.
Right, yeah. Don't show them the face.
Yeah,
paint. Show them the music.
Don't mention clown shit.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, but it was Always Coming Home to You by Atmosphere. That's storytelling. There's no hook. It's just like 64 bars of him just telling the story of an evening walk. Like, that shit's beautiful when done right.
Yeah.
When it's not, it's cornier than building shit. So it's a delicate seesaw to balance.
Oh yeah, and one of my other favorite all-time storytime raps of all time, yes, is of course "It Was a Good Day" by Ice Cube. Who doesn't love that?
Right. No, that's true. You can't listen to that song and frown. You know what I mean?
And it's a feel-good song because it's a song about not having a bad day in South Los Angeles.
Didn't even have to pull my AK.
Yeah, man.
So good.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster by the Gutter Boys too.
Yeah.
I listen to that shit on the way to work.
Still...
Like,
me and my homies would just be driving around Denver and we'd be blaring that shit.
Dude, that song's fucking great, dude. Bushwick will forever be unfavorable. I don't care. Just that man's life story and how he rapped and what he rapped about.
Oh yeah, that's another example. Even Ghetto Boys were like great storytellers. Like the song "Mind Playing Tricks on Me." Fuck.
Horrorcore classic.
The fucking genre, probably.
Right. Horrorcore classic.
Oh yeah. There's like so much like artists that were like dabbling with horrorcore back in the day. Like with our last guest, like Ill Fortune, we were like, a lot of people don't know is even Will Smith did a horrorcore type song back in the 80s where he was rapping about being fucking Freddy Krueger.
Bro, I'm gonna die on that hill with Eminem. He don't cuss. Fuck him. I do.
Right.
I'm cool. That dude got cucked out by his
He ain't
husband.
gonna
I'm all right.
cuss his raps and sell records.
No, he got cucked out by his husband. I'm cool.
Yeah, and I like how like with horrorcore or wicked shit, it's always been around. It's just what people were like messing with it back in the day.
No doubt. No doubt. That's probably one of my favorite rappers, fucking Brother Lynch, though. Because he's a classic, bro. Like Season of the Sickness.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing I liked about Brother Lynch is he had horrorcore elements, but then he had like that West Coast gangster feel to it.
Like New Jack.
Yeah, man.
New Jack knew how to wrestle, but he'd rather poke you with a fork.
And that's one thing we've always told people. We're in the Midwest. Everyone had like ICP, Eminem, and Esham. Well, on the West Coast, where I grew up, like Colorado and California, we had like what we were listening to. Our horrorcore was like not Esham. It was like Brother Lynch and Insane Poetry.
Right.
Yeah, I fuck with Insane Poetry, dude. His fucking like crowd control is fucking par none, dude. I got hella respect for that motherfucker.
Par none?
Yeah, that dude is like my mentor.
Par none. I'm a reject. You expect me to know the right words? Like the fuck?
Yeah, Insane Poetry and Scum have been like two of some of like my mentors in the like this industry. When those two dudes give you advice, you sit and you listen.
Every day's a school day, bro. It's a hard thing for a lot of people to realize.
That's another good example of old school horrorcore. Cool Mo D. Fuck.
Yo, Cool Keith, too. That whole Dr. Octagon album is weird enough that even if it's not real horrorcore, it's up there, dude. He was doing that man bear pig shit long before the South Park got half alligator, half man, half shark or whatever. I need to go back to this.
It's a Chimera.
Yeah, and even back in those days down in the South, you had 3-6 Mafia dabbling with the horror shit. They were called 666 Mafia.
Yeah, I remember I was mad when they changed it. Chapter 2 is the best album they released, dude. I swear to God, and it's mostly because of Gangsta Boo. That bitch went hard.
Rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. She had bars.
Dude, right? I swear to God, it hit me harder than Lauryn Hill if I ever find out she had a ghostwriter.
Oh yeah, even like Brother Lynch's like 3 albums he did on Strange Music, those 3 concept albums where it was a storytelling album.
Oh yeah, no, that's the shit. No
and
doubt.
I like that the story. I was like, it should have been a movie. It's basically the story of a guy who's struggling to be a rapper, and since he can't make it being a rapper, the dude ends up becoming a serial killer. That's so dope. And it's really basically influenced on a real life rapper that was just so happened to be a cannibal too in real life. A lot of people don't know that.
I'm gonna hit Google there, and I'm gonna put on some kind of list after tonight. I'm gonna read that article.
Yeah, one good documentary I recommend you watch is also it's a documentary. It's free on YouTube. It's a documentary about like the Memphis like hip hop scene back in the day. It's so dope.
It's like South Florida didn't ever really have like one that blew up outside of like Trick Daddy, like, a couple people out of Miami, and it was always in the street and grimy. Because like when you guys are sitting here talking about listening to like Brother Lynch when y'all were younger and stuff like that, like I was listening to the dude that lived like 4.5 blocks away from me, so crack in front of the KFC. His name was Triple J. The dude's still writing music. He's fire, dude. It's on fucking Spotify. I still listen to Look on. Like we just had that street shit that was ignorant.
Oh yeah, and then you had like that party rap out of Florida, and then you had that very sex rap 2 Live Crew.
Well, once like Newfound Glory and Yellow Card got big, our whole metal and rock scene fell apart, and we didn't have that. And then because of the violence and shit, a lot of venues didn't put on rap shows, so you had to get it out of the mixtapes and the trunks.
Still,
I know we do.
Like motherfuckers need to be less violent and
we're good.
more
We
rappers
police ourselves, but like we'll throw somebody out if they're acting ignorant.
Yeah, we're our own security.
But like, what is it? They're shutting down Odd Bodies. A couple places out, fucking
I didn't know that.
Indianapolis didn't have liquor licenses because they kept having shootings. Someone got shot in the head out in front of the Mount Frog like a month or 2 before we were doing shows.
I know. I remember that. Yeah, they wand everybody at the Reject House now. The Thompson House, fucking, because motherfuckers was acting stupid.
Remember, I was out front. Somebody dropped a fucking gun in the doorway, and I was like, "Yo, someone dropped their pistol." The guy walks in all sheepishly, like picks it up off the ground, puts it in his waistband, and walks back in the venue. I was like, "Fuck, bro."
Yeah, I'm surprised. Actually, the scene down here in Florida, like the rap scene in general down here, is actually really good now. It's like
good,
starting to like really make a comeback.
Now, see, I heard you're in Tampa. I'm from West Palm Beach, so it's a little different. And I haven't been. It's been what 6 years now since I've been back up here, so it's been a while.
It's been longer than that. It's been 7 years.
Seven? So yeah, I ain't seen the scene down there in a long time. But
time's up. That song I did with Corey is 5 years old.
No shit.
Yeah.
Because Florida metal was really fucking good. So where our radio stations threw a festival once a year called the Buzz Bake Sale. And it was just local metal bands and then a bunch of touring bands they would bring in. It was like a one-day Ozfest. Ozfest came through every fucking year back when that was still a thing. Like Florida metal's always been good.
My fiance went to Ozfest back in the day. I'm like, hell yeah.
Right? I went like 4 years in a row through high school, and it was dope. This was one of the best festivals I've ever been to, like outside of the gathering, obviously, because I need the cheap pop. But Ozfest was just so well put together, and the bands that you'd see there, you would never have the opportunity to see anywhere else.
Hell yeah! And what was like the first like music you guys ever like saw live? Like, what was your guys' like show that you ever saw live, and who was it that you saw live in concert?
My first show was a Twisted show. I was like 14, and it was the second leg of the Freak Show tour because we were all so hyped that they were actually coming down to Boynton Beach because we're all the way down at the fucking tip, and they never would.
Yeah, my first show was Cletus T. Judd. Real shit at some fucking, it was at some like
I love it.
Yard sale on a field or some shit, you know what I mean?
No, dude, fucking rednecks with guitars at yard sales.
Dude, no, it's huge.
Because otherwise, I could say my drunk dad was spoon.
It was a big event, bub. Like there was thousands of people there. But it was
Judd.
No, it wasn't just Judd. He was doing a free performance as part of the bigger thing. There's a few bigger names too, but that was the first concert I ever seen. It wasn't by choice. It's just the first one I seen.
Yeah, I was hearing stories back in the day that back in those days, like in the from 98 to 2005 or 6, they said the Florida Juggalo scene down here was lit. There was like a lot of good shows down here.
Oh, dude, we used to have to throw mini gatherings because we were all so fucking poor. Dude, we couldn't get all the way up to the Midwest. So it was the OG guys from RealJuggalos.com, like Deep Clear and a couple of the other ones. We always used to throw them at this Boomers in Dania and get kicked out of that bitch because Juggalos would invariably play Morton's List on the mini golf course. And then we get kicked the fuck out and go to another Boomer.
Yeah, no.
But they'd have like one or two of them a fucking year. Like it used to be dope being a Juggalo in Florida. You just didn't have any connection to Juggalos anywhere else.
It used to be dope being a Juggalo.
Yeah, me and my friends used to do that too. Like, or if an album came out, we would have our own album release parties where we'd get a bunch of Faygo, snacks, and then we all would listen to the album and just chill and listen to it.
Yeah, the last time I did that was for The Calm, and that album kind of killed the fucking ritual for me.
I think the last time I did that was a big
word. I actually think that.
Or yeah, that and
like
we did it with
brother.
the Tempest too. Like me and my fucking immediate friend group. There was like 20
There's
of us.
a bunch of weed, and like you said, a bunch of Faygo.
Right.
Sitting around a fucking weed box.
We had other assortments and varieties, but
Yeah,
that
I
was
always
weed and
watch that.
Faygo. Right.
So
Oh,
you guys
I like
remember those days of like buying an album the day it come out and it'd be like on sale and shit. Like that's what I would do. I would go to my local record store, I'd buy an album and then it'd be on sale, and then I'd buy my Faygo and then I'd put it in my CD player and then I'd be jamming to that shit as I was walking home.
Remember the Killer C days before Great Plot?
I'd rather not.
So we had a CD place in Covington called Ultimate CDs and Accessories. And that was like one of 3 places where you could buy anything worth fucking listening to underground wise. You know what I mean? We had the FYI, but that's at the mall, and the mall sucked. You know what I mean? And then we had Hot Topic, which is also at the mall, and the mall sucked. And then we had these juggalos with their own little shop with like weed ashtrays and shit, handing out samplers. They were dope. I don't know what happened to them. That was before the heroin epidemic. So I hope they didn't fall victim to that like most of my friends. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that was the place to buy CDs. You know what I mean?
Before the heroin.
Before the heroin epidemic. We were like the capital.
I know.
Fuck it. That shit was rough.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. And if you guys had to pick another similar question like to the one, but if you guys had to pick, what are your top 5 like Psychopathic Records albums of all time? For me, it is that original Tales from the Lotus with bars.
Hider, close second. Riding Dirty by Psychopathic Ride is higher from front to back. Really, it's the ensemble shit that is going to be really good. The Pink Brotherhood's up on there. And Wizard of the Hood, dog. You can't have that without that whole album. From the back.
I'm so glad I was there for that one time. It was fun. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I missed that one.
I mean, one of the guys could have done a better job, but it was still dope to witness all of them on stage.
Yeah.
Shit, costume. Yeah.
I got to see Dark Lotus live a couple times. So like I've seen them all together.
Billy Bill, he's my janitor. That shit killed me.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing Dark Lotus live. Like it's hard to describe it. It is like phenomenal.
And the live show for Black Rain was dope because they all had like that Jason Volume 2 fucking get up going with the burlap sacks and the overalls. Pass the Axe was choreographed perfectly. It's not my favorite album of theirs, but the live show was fucking phenomenal.
The whole album was dope too.
It was dope, yeah.
I dug all that shit. I got Dark Lotus tattooed on my wrist like everybody else. Okay.
I've always told people like, yes, I like Riders, and I love that gangsta shit, but like Lotus has also spoke more to me because like on the spiritual level, because I deal with that spiritual shit, you know, that occultic shit.
And yeah, it's shit that you can pull meaning out of.
I don't know, man. Riders.
That's what I said.
For me,
Riding
dude.
Dirty. That second album, dog, is just the best of the lot, man. It's just smooth. It's right in that fucking slot. Because you recognize the beats they jack too.
Yeah.
So it adds a little the flavor to it. The crime of the stealing of the.
Another one of my favorite Psychopathic Records albums is You Gotta Love Crack Tiles from Zug Island. Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it is a real good album. For real.
Like, if I had to pick between the two, like, I like Zug Island better than I like Motown Rage. And people try to compare them, like, Motown Rage is more metal. Zug Island is, like, alternative.
I think Motown Rage takes it for me. But that's because the homie, you know what I mean, he come play at the campsite and shit, so...
But I do love me some Motown Rage, too.
As long as it's not Oh the Horror, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah. And what are your guys' like top favorite foods where like you can never get tired of eating this food? Like people tell you, haven't you already eaten that? And you're like, I can eat this many times. I don't give a fuck. We're still eating this.
That's why one of my jobs is Five Guys.
Oh, fuck.
Look, the only love song I've ever fucking written was about cheeseburgers and eat more than one of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Cheeseburgers easily. I'm in shape. Round is a shape.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm aggressive about food.
That's my favorite food.
Yeah.
Jerky, dog. I'm a fucking roughneck. You just give some beer and salt beef. I'm solid.
Give me jerky and a Red Bull.
Not even the Red Bull. I only did that because I worked all day. Yeah. Usually it's just beer and meat of some kind. Like my food has to have had a mother.
I feel that way.
My top favorite foods, like country-wise, is I love Mexican food, then I love Greek food, then I love Asian food, and then I love Italian food. That's like my top four.
Word.
I can sum it up. My top one is food.
Yeah. It's just my family's from Cuba, so I just grew up eating Spanish foods, and everything I cook has Spanish spices in it. So it's more like down to the ingredients than it is like.
Oh yeah, and I noticed that since moving down here to Florida, I'm like,
everything just
I've tried
tastes
Cuban
Spanish
food in other places, but you've never tried best Cuban food unless you've tried Cuban food from actual Florida. And ever since I moved down here, I'm like, it's better down here than I've had it at other places.
My grandma came across that water in 1971, and I lived in her house for a lot of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
You should focus your dog into the show more often.
Cafe here. Like this place we go to, these Cuban sandwiches are fucking huge.
Yeah. And they're simple. A lot of people fuck those up just trying to put too much on them. It's just ham, Swiss cheese, mustard, a pickle, and then you press the bitch. It's done.
Yeah, I learned a lot of my favorite food since I moved down here is like Southern food. Like ever since I moved down here, I literally have grits on the mind. I fucking love grits.
I don't.
No, I was about to say we're
fuck some grits. I like some hash browns. I like my hash browns with the sausage.
It's
gravy.
a texture thing.
They took that shit off the menu. I still eat.
Yeah, like the grits I like is the cheesy grits, or I like the shrimp and grits.
See, I like shrimp.
I pretty much eat anything with shrimp or
Except
crab in it.
grits.
Except grits.
My favorite shrimp of all time to eat though is Cajun shrimp. It's because it's got a little Cajun spice to it.
Yeah, snow crab goes good with Cajun as well.
I love catfish. You know, who doesn't love biscuits and gravy?
Facts.
Yeah. As I said, I'm from the South, dog. All that shit that people like move down there and they're like, oh my God, I love this. Like I was raised on it. Like shit on a shingle and all that kind of silly shit versus like the bread and then hamburger. I know you know it.
Yeah, man.
That was like Hamburger Helper was a fucking 5-star meal when I was a kid, bro.
Yeah,
my mom about
there's like
spices.
good all you can eat Southern restaurant.
Yeah, no, my mom didn't know about spices until I moved out. Until I was grown, like jail food was better than the food at home.
That's
why I was fucked up. Doing dumb shit.
Toenail soup. We cold carrots.
Yeah. There's this shit called slop.
Those are running commissaries, so you're just making breaks in the
Nah, look, if you take a brownie, you cut it up into little slices, wrap a piece of salami around that shit, it fires all the taste buds at once. Yeah, little Debbie brownie, cut it up in little slices, like little like not cylinders because they're square. You know what I mean? So like rectangles of you can mix it all the fuck up. Why not? This is America. I can do what I want.
All right, fair.
So good.
There's logic.
Yeah, I'm like the type of person I'll even eat like barbecue sauce with homemade mac and cheese. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, duh.
Oh, I just had that
That
last
has
night,
to
actually.
get like you can't have
Bake some
homemade
chicken
mac
and
and
throw it in the
cheese
mac
without
and cheese and
sauce
barbecue sauce.
and some form of poultry.
And my
Dude,
my,
look,
my
shout out
family,
to
my
Sunshine.
family
He makes the best fucking mac and cheese. Tito Sunshine make the best mac and cheese in the world. Anybody who says he don't, is a goddamn lying ain't have it.
Yeah, my family is they would always make it like, and then they'd make the top noodles where they were like crispy and stuff. So good.
Yeah.
White people gotta make a casserole out of it.
Yeah, dude, that's a fact. That's a fact. You're just white.
Just like I love barbecue.
No, I told my homie John, dude, it's not that I'm white, it's that I'm a real strong khaki. Because I could be baggy like some fucking dickies, or I could slack up when I shave and go for a job interview.
What's that?
That means I don't have a criminal record, dog, and my complexion is probably why.
Criminals? I don't even know any criminals.
You know, you're right. FBI, I don't know any criminals.
Right.
Oh yeah, and if you guys had to pick, what are like your top like favorite TV shows of all time?
Books
or animes. Honestly, it's gonna be books or anime with me. Like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo.
Oh yeah.
Done. Like I'm gonna rattle off the old.
Game of Thrones was dope
for the first 5 seasons.
I love Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but for the first 5 seasons, if you read the books after season 5, you check out too.
I watched the movie or the TV show before I read the books.
Bro, my whole right arm is a Witcher tattoo. I haven't watched season 2 on Netflix yet because of how badly they murdered the book storyline. I'm telling you, dude. Like, if you like the seasons 1 through 5 of Game of Thrones, chef's kiss. Just pretend like they stopped making it out.
Yeah, that House of Dragon though prequel series is good.
Well, there's no books for them to fuck up with that. So yeah,
exactly.
And
I've always told people, I tell my fiance this, you know what makes a good story when you can like touch on many different storylines, like with Star Wars. You don't just have to touch on the main storyline. You can focus on different stuff. You could do the same with Harry Potter.
I mentioned Warhammer earlier, dude. Like I'm a nerd. I get it. I read books and I watch anime.
I watch a lot of anime too, especially anime from the 90s. Like, who doesn't love that Dragon Ball Z? That's the shit.
Fact.
I got Dragon Balls in my curio cabinet.
Fuck
and if I get any older, I'm gonna be Dragon Balls that cross the carpet. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, that was a great show back in the day too. That Gargoyles show. Ooh.
No, Gargoyles was dope.
That dude voices everything that I love. Like Arbiter in Halo 2, Goliath and Gargoyles, Captain Anderson in Mass Effect. I just heard him in some shit the other day too that I was playing. Like the dude's everything.
I like that the actors don't exist and are just the characters that they play.
Yeah, but I hear fucking the same dude voicing like 5 or 6 different characters. It's kind of hard not to realize it.
Yeah, for some of us. Oh shit, he's got to go.
Yeah, the wife needs to ride some. So pleasure meeting you, buddy.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, man.
Holler at me when you're done.
Yeah, man. You got any more questions?
No, I think that's it. I wanted to thank you guys for coming on. Of course, you guys are always welcome back on the show anytime.
Bet. Let me shout out a couple motherfuckers first, though. One, Jay Bizarre, because he's the shit. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have met you at all, and this would not have happened. So you definitely got to give some love. Some love to the fat motherfucker Thorazine, because he smells funny, but he's dope. You know what I mean? And my homies Murder Click. And CRS the Villain. Look him up on Spotify.
Hell yeah, and I'm actually going to be trying to put together like an annual event down here in Florida, and it's going to be like a charity event called Karma Fest. So when I get that all together, we'd love you guys to come down and perform for a good cause.
Hell yeah, man. We do a festival every year called Shit Fest. Because what we do is reject shit. You know what I mean? So, like, we got this thing called Shit Fest. We're doing year 5 this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's wild. It's the shit.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, man. It was good meeting you and shit, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you for joining. Again, you guys are always welcome anytime.
For sure, dude. This was fun.
Hell yeah. And of course your guys' like links to your like socials are down below to where people can hear your guys' music and stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put our website if there's a way I can type that in.
Yes, I think you could like do it in the chat or something.
All right, cool. I'll figure that out. Much love.
Hell yeah. Later. Hell yeah, y'all. And we are going to take a quick music break. Shouts to a lot of y'all in the chat. Shouts to Lady Chaos. Well, we'll definitely book a spot for you to come on the show, man. Most definitely. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and take a music break. So we will be right back, y'all. So don't go anywhere, y'all. We will be right back with some news and topics to discuss. And yeah. So we will be right back.
Let's go to war, fuck it up. They want a war, let's go to war.
Stomp on their head till they brain dead. Stomp on their head till they brain dead.
They want a war, let's go to war, fuck it up. They want a war, let's go to war.
Stomp on their head till they brain dead. Stomp on their head till they brain dead.
You made a bad decision. Make a fast decision. I'm giving soul to I'll make you dig your own hole to sit in. I dirt on your face. You try to escape, but too late. You get your fate. You're disgusting. Yet I'm disgusted. When you disgust me, don't be no fuck shit. Your life costs less than my drugs twisted. Baseball bat, banging heads in the dog pit. Cover your body in dirt, then cover that dirt with my bodily function.
Fuck the odds. They want a war, let's go to war. Fuck the odds. They want a war, let's go to war.
Stomp on their head till they brain dead. Stomp on their head till they brain dead.
Fuck the odds. They want a war, let's go to war. Fuck the odds. They want a war, let's go to war.
Stomp on their head till they brain dead. Stomp on their head till they brain dead.
If you get verbal, we gon' do something that's controversial. Blow a hole into your chest and call that shit my prayer circle. I reminisce over your murder in my journal. I keep your blood inside a bowl and let it curdle. Talking to myself, that's a suicide hotline. Look into the eyes and understand that I am godlike. Peek into my trunk and see your shorty in it hog tied. You might be absent-minded, but ancient spirits on mine.
And we are back. We are back live. Welcome back, y'all. So, yeah. It's been a great show. So, let's continue, keep the ball rolling. And, yeah. We are going to go ahead and get into some news. So, first bit of news. We have something dropping tomorrow. We have a single. Something dropping from my boy, our boy Chuckles. So I'm not going to tell you guys it. I'm going to let my boy Chuckles tell you guys. So here is a word from our boy Chuckles.
Don't sleep, it's coming. Don't sleep, it's coming. Don't sleep, it's coming.
One more day, bitch!
Yeah. Chuckles, y'all don't sleep. Drops tomorrow. Probably even officially at midnight tonight. Maybe even 1 in the morning. But it drops tomorrow. So you can guarantee that your boy and Lady Chaos are going to do a reaction to that. Oh, yeah. Of course, every Wednesday, you guys can always check. Make sure you check out Let's Sesh every Wednesday live on Carnival Spirits, as well as Lady Chaos's socials, as well as Lithium Queen's socials. So every Wednesday, make sure you check out Let's Sesh. There won't be an episode of Let's Sesh, I believe, this Wednesday. Babe, if you're still in the chat, let me know. But there is possibly going to be one on Friday. So, yeah. And if you haven't seen the trailer for the upcoming schedule for the month of July, dropping on the Hours of Chaos podcast today, we dropped the schedule for the month of July. Of course, make sure you peep the links down below to our guests tonight, as well as shout outs to your boys, my sponsors, Blind Death Clothing, created by Juggalos for Juggalos, which is a clothing company created and ran by fellow juggalos. So go check out my sponsors down below, Blind Death Clothing, as well as my social medias, as well as Lady Chaos's social medias as well. But yes, tomorrow, Don't Sleep by Chuckles, produced by DJ Sprite, is dropping. So reaction, shouts to one of my fellow Blind Death Clothing brothers, Chuckles. Shout outs to him. Also announced on social media is it looks like we're either getting a brand new Project Born release. So we're either getting an EP or a full-length album. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we're getting an EP or a full-length album? Yeah, always excited to hear new Project Born. Shouts to my dude, Frank Nitty, my dudes at Project Born. What else do we got? The dates have been announced for the leg 2 of the Shaggy 2 Dope Quest for the Ultimate Groove Tour. Here are the dates for the tour. Of course, Shaggy's going to be here in Florida, so we're definitely hitting that Tampa date. We're definitely excited. That Tampa date is August 29th? Yes, August 29th. So very also dropping at the Gathering. You're getting Walking Home Tuesday by Violent J dropping. As well as finally dropping is Whoa, the Weeping Weirdo. The final seed of Yum Yum is going to be released at the Gathering. That is dope. So if anyone wants to get your boy the Late Chaos of copy or copies, just let us know. No other dope shows we have coming up are the Fun Times at Trife High, which is super famous Fun Time guy and Cody Manson headline, along with Clockwork E and Sun. And that's in Indianapolis, Indiana. And another act to be announced. Of course, make sure you check out Vision Fest. Look at that dope lineup. Yeah, Walking Home Tuesday is dropping at the Gathering. Also, Ritz is going on tour, which would be very dope. And then my dude, my LSP brother, Hex Rated, is dropping. Postmortem, which here is the track listing for that. So yeah, A lot of dopeness coming, y'all. So yeah. Again, make sure you check out my sponsors, Blind Death Clothing, down below, or Juggalos by Juggalos. Company that's created by Juggalos. It's a Juggalo-owned business, and it just so happens to be clothing business. So join the Blind Death Clothing family. If you want to be sponsored by Blind Death, let Eric know. And who knows, we might even get Eric, the creator of Blind Death Clothing, to come on here for an interview. How dope would that be? Because there's numerous people that have sponsorship through Blind Death Clothing. There's your boy here, Doc Gruesome, and everyone at Severus Click. SV, Slaughter Visions, is sponsored through Blind Death. My boy Chuckles has sponsorship through Blind Death. A lot of LSP is sponsored through Blind Death. That is dope. Hot dopeness. Join the Blind Death crew, and yeah, go check out the Blind Death clothing store down below. Follow your boy on all social media. Follow Blind Death Clothing on all social medias. Get yourself some Dawn Chaos and Carnival Spirits drip as well down below. And yeah, everyone have a safe trip to the gathering. Everyone be safe, have fun, and yeah. And to let you guys go, we're gonna go ahead and play a track. Yeah, you guys know. You guys are awesome. This has been Dawn Chaos with the Hours of Chaos podcast, episode 121. Thank you to our guests, Ill Fortune and Rejektz in Power, joining us. This was another very great episode. So, what did you guys think of this show tonight? Make sure you check out the playlist for the Hours of Chaos podcast. Down below, there's a playlist of past episodes of the Hours of Chaos podcast, including this current episode that is on right now. And we are going to go out and ride out to this song. Because all we gotta say is, if you a juggalo, you are not alone. This one goes out to the thuggalos and all that, and the juggalos. Yeah. You guys can still mingle in the chat while the song's playing as we ride out to this song. This song is for y'all. The song is for my people. So we'll come back and say goodbye, y'all.
Listen very closely. You a juggalo, you are not alone. Let's go.
They will never understand them. We ain't nothing like our parents. That's why we got the advantage. They will never understand us. They won't never understand us. With that blank face staring at the canvas. That's why we got the advantage. They will never understand us. Swear these bitches, they will never know. Cause they don't wanna know about a thug alone. Ay. Swear it feels like they will never know about a thug alone. Ay. Places I've been, never fit in. Won't let me play. How can I win? Knock on the door, won't let me in. Cause all my killers pull up with paint on their skin. Some are like Jay, some are like Shaq. Others got face tats with choppers and flags. Some ain't got shit, some getting bags. At the end of the day, family is all that we have. Swear these bitches, they will never know. Cause they don't wanna know about a thug alone. Ay. Swear it feels like they will never know about the juggler. About a thug alone. What it is and fuck if I know. What is a thug alone? I don't know. But if that's what it is and fuck if I know. The government and everybody for it. Fuck the rebel flag and anyone that hold it. Fuck the racist, pedophiles and transphobics. Homophobic suck dick and we all know it. Fuck the Bible and the idiot who wrote it. They preach slavery up in that shit, so how can y'all support it? We a family, my purpose is to grow it. Some of y'all are juggalos and don't know it. They will never understand us. We ain't nothing like our parents. That's why we got the advantage. They will never understand us. They will never understand us. With that blank face staring at the canvas. That's why we got the advantage. They will never understand us. Swear these bitches, they will never know. Cause they don't wanna know about a thug alone. Ay. Swear it feels like they will never know about a juggalo, about a thug alone. Ay.
Hell yeah, y'all. And yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. You guys are awesome. And yeah, if you don't know, if you haven't, go check out the upload for the full schedule for the month of July for the Hours of Chaos podcast. The official schedule for next month is out right now. And it is also posted on all my social media. So we will see you guys next Thursday, which will be July 6th, and we'll be joined by my Severus dude and my also fellow Blind Death dude, the one and only gang himself, Doc Gruesome of Hellhounds. Release the Hound, y'all, because July 6th, re-release the Hounds. Also, SV or Die Slow, Slaughter Vision, y'all, Severus Click, Blind Death for life. So we'll see you guys next week when we're joined by Doc Gruesome. Oh, yeah. Again, if you want to be on the Hours of Chaos podcast, just message your boy on social media and we will book a spot for you. Or if you guys want to be on the Let's Sesh podcast, hit them up and let them know. Yeah. You know, this ain't a hobby, y'all. Juggling ain't a hobby. Again, for those that are going to the gathering, have fun, be safe. If anything goes down at the gathering, we are living vicariously for you guys. Drop news for your boy that we can drop during the show as well. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Yep. See you next week when we have Doc Gruesome on the show, because Doc Gruesome is going to come on and he's going to promote his new album that he has coming out called The King in Yellow, which we're excited for. Doc Gruesome, y'all, and SB and Severus Click, we always all hard at work, y'all. We don't fuck around. So yeah, you guys are awesome. Later, y'all. And now you know what the fuck going on, Terry.